Today is Tuesday, June 17th, and we welcome you back to the Frozen Edge podcast, your daily home for picks, props, and parlays, and analysis behind the NHL's betting market with a chance at the Stanley Cup to be shown here tonight with Timo Seppa, former senior manager of analytics at the NHL. I'm Casey Ditzel. Timo, what's happening?
Not much. It's the bright shirt episode of our podcast here. Now, looking forward to the game tonight. Certainly got a chance for Florida to close this out, but I am looking to see if we got some more intrigue and if we can get to a game 7 again. That would be fantastic with these two teams. Just thinking, even historically, looking back, Florida in 3 Stanley Cups in a row. Florida and Edmonton in 2 game 7s in a row. The series has been fantastic no matter what, but that would make for some real drama.
Brad Marchand has made himself a favorite once again to be the MVP here. And what an effort in game 5 as we look back on what got the Panthers to where they are, a 3-2 series lead now. And they head back home with a chance to win the cup upcoming here. The first goal was Brad Marchand style. The second was about as highlight reel as they come. Which impressed you most about the 37-year-old's performance?
It all has. I mean, like most of his goals, he's anticipating those passes that are putting him behind the defense. Just the one coming off the face-off. I realized that it didn't come immediately off the face-off, but defensive zone face-off. Once again, Marchand on his toes, getting the jump on the Edmonton players off of the face-off. I think that was probably Perry that he got the jump on there. And then the Panthers win the puck, and he is beating the defenseman up the ice. Was that Wallman? And then the back-checking player, I think that was Perry again. It's just Florida has got players like this. Marchand was just such a fantastic addition. They understand the gravity of the situation. They are on their toes. Edmonton is playing reactive. I'm so impressed with Marchand overall. We've known he's a good player. We've known he's a very good player. He is putting a stamp on this historically. I don't know if he was in the discussion to be a Hall of Fame player, but hey, if you play like this in a series, maybe you even win a Conn Smythe. I mean, we know that Bennett is out ahead of him, but we were on those guys several games ago when their odds were down. Players like Marchand and Bennett, they get it. And Edmonton needs to have more players that start to get it, that win those battles, win those races. Just fantastic by Marchand. I could talk about him for quite a while.
Something that Ryan Whitney expressed on Spit and Chicklets, and a big-time Oilers fan, is a sentiment you kind of feel the same of, that the Oilers are just being outplayed by the Panthers, who seemingly want it more. Explain what needs to change on the Edmonton side looking forward. They need to win back-to-back games here in game 6 and 7 to win the cup.
The series has been swingy. Last year was swingy too. I liked Florida in the last game. They were an underdog in the last game. Things don't necessarily, just because a team won the last game, they're not going to win this game. Just because a team won the last period, they're not going to win the next period. You've just got to be mentally tough enough this far into this log. Even if you're banged up, you have got to be playing every shift like it matters. You cannot turn your brain off for half a second, because that gives somebody an extra stride or two on you. So it's all about that. Edmonton can still win this series. I mean, I said from the beginning, Florida in 7. I said early on, I said my initial thought was Florida in 6, but analysis made me think Florida in seven. Doesn't mean that Edmonton can't win this in seven. They've got the star players. They've It would help if some of the rest of the cast would um, come along with players like McDavid and Draisaitl and Perry. Yeah, they just need more. They need solid goaltending performances. They need the defense backing up the goaltending to not put the goaltending out, let them out to dry. If it's Skinner in there, no breakaways. You don't want to cross ice passes, whatever. Yeah, I'm going on long here, but Edmonton, they just need to up their game. The star players need to play like star players, and the rest of the players need to not have those lapses.
Well, you've been all over the road teams, back-to-back wins for the road team here in this series, and now 3 out of the 5 games being won by the team on the road. Edmonton will be the road team, heavy underdogs as we look at the game lines. Florida minus 150 favorites to lift the Stanley Cup, and Edmonton on the road plus 125 as the underdog. Florida plus 164 to cover a -1.5 spread here to win the cup. The over under again set at 6.5. It is 5 for 5. Came down to the wire in game 5 there on your confident pick, Timo. You texted me that it was over, and all of a sudden, bang, 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 4 goals in the third period,
Yeah.
and successful over there.
I was
But
not feel I
Florida,
was not feeling good about that. I would have taken that back if I could have at the beginning of the third period.
and it worked out, so it's a good thing that you didn't. Florida is 17-6 at home since 2024. But Edmonton very confident in game 6 situations, especially game 6 elimination situations. You're going to go a different way than I
Yeah.
am once again and still back in the road team here.
Yeah, I have. I've once again I banged the drum on this. I came up with these stats back a couple series ago in the playoffs, and I like them, and they have not been 100% right, but they've been broadly correct for the last 4 postseasons prior to this series. Edmonton is 6-1 in game sixes, 86% of them game sixes they've won. So that is the stat that I am going with, that Edmonton is really good in game sixes. They're really good in games 4 through 7. They happen to be the best in game 6 out of all of those games 4 through 7. So I like that. And I, I don't know what the narrative is you pick. The narrative must be that goaltending is solid, supporting cast is solid, and McDavid, Draisaitl, Perry, pick it up.
And I'm going to go the other way. I'm looking at the 60-minute line as my favorite here, plus 350 for this game to go into overtime. We've already seen it happen 3 times in this series so far. It did not happen in game 5. So maybe in overtime, and the under sparkles to me there at -122. Parlaying those together would get you some pretty good results. I would favor Florida more to get it done here, but the heart wants the game 7, and for the dramatics and to keep our show going for the time being, we will see if Edmonton can pull any life out of this one, and it would make for a dramatic media outline if they can
Of course.
drag it back home, because all of a sudden they would probably go from plus 125 just in game 6 to favorites to win the Stanley Cup if they can come away with a road victory here. The goaltending is not yet set as we
Mm.
record this. We're recording a day early. This will release here on Tuesday, but as of Monday afternoon, as we record this one, it has not been announced whether Skinner or Cal Pickard will get the net. Where would your allegiance be on the Oilers side going into game 6? This is kind of similar to what happened in that Vancouver series. Pickard got games 4 and 5, a win in game 4, a loss in game 5. They went back to Skinner against Vancouver a year ago, and that was where obviously the Oilers were able to advance with back-to-back wins in games 6 and 7.
Okay, let me Anybody who's audio doing this on audio, I'm gonna make like I'm flipping a coin, and yeah, I don't know. It's you know what it I think it's probably not right to say that it doesn't make a difference. I do think that these goalies have different styles, and so statistically, they're probably about the same. I guess the question for me, if I was the coaching staff, is what style of goalie do I think is going to fit if we've got our defense playing well? Skinner, obviously, he's looked vulnerable in a bunch of games. But Pickard, I know you were high on him after he had this strong performance, stopping what was it, 22 of 23 in relief the other game, but he looked mortal in the last game. Um, Looking at the goaltending stats overall for the final, not a lot of light between these two goalies. Skinner, 1 and 2, 860 save percentage. Pickard, 1 and 1, 878 save percentage. Obviously, small sample there, but not much there. If you look game by game, Skinner basically degraded over the course of the games. He went from 906 to 881 to 783 to 824. Um, Whereas Pickard, the games that he got in, 875, 957 in that game that where he came in relief, 778 in the last game. So bunch of sub 900 games there. Um, Yeah, I think as I was saying, it's something about the styles here. I really dislike Skinner on a lot of the breakaways he sees. So if you're going to have Marchand on a breakaway, I realize that Marchand scored on Pickard on a breakaway too. I just don't trust Skinner at all swimming around on some of those breakaways. But he looks strong on, he's a big goalie, looks strong on certain kinds of situations. So, yeah, I guess the bottom line is it probably doesn't matter. Um, yeah, it probably doesn't matter. So, what's your take on this, Casey? What do you think is the right call? Where do you think they're going? I'm actually torn as to where they're going. Like, dude, they probably want to go back to Skinner, but do they feel like they're yo-yoing back and forth if they're doing it? I don't know. What do you think? Can't hear you, Casey.
Thank you. I said I think for me, I'd go back to Skinner here. Um, I think he's shown the ability to bounce back when he's been pulled, which has happened probably more than the Oilers would like to see. But in those situations, he's been strong enough to be able to bounce back and has been able to get the results to get them to back Stanley Cups. So for me, I'd go with Skinner, but obviously a pretty tough decision. Sam Bennett adds another goal there in Game 5 and continues his hot streak that he's been on. Talk about Bennett, who's now the heavy Conn Smythe favorite
Yeah.
here,
Wow.
and what you've seen out of him.
Yeah. People should have picked him for Conn Smythe a few games ago when we were on Bennett. Um, yeah, I'm gonna lean on some stats from the NHL.com fantasy hockey staff. They do a nice job with highlighting some of the edge stats, some of the puck and player tracking stats. That the fantasy hockey staff over at NHL.com, of course, is led by Pete Jensen, good pal of mine. So shout out to all of them, including Pete. Yeah, Bennett for the playoffs has the third most high danger shots and goals. He's got 24 high danger shots in 22 games, and the only players with more than that, obviously players still playing in the playoffs. You got McDavid with 29 and Perry with 27. So players that are getting in the house, deep in the house, and getting a lot of shots. So not surprising names there. Um, I also wanted to mention that Bennett is overall he's third in shots, and this was mentioned by the NHL.com fantasy hockey staff as well. Bennett has 66 shots on goal, trailing McDavid at 78 and one behind Bouchard at 67. Overall, Florida more high danger shots on goal for the playoffs than Edmonton, 50 overall. Edmonton with 44. That's actually, if Edmonton has 50 high danger shot, I'm sorry, that's 50. That's not shots on goal. 50 high danger goals for the postseason. Edmonton has 44. So yeah, Florida. It's a big part of their game. It's going to be a big part of any team's game that's going to be successful in the postseason, right? So, but Bennett is a big driver on that with a lot of high danger shots on goal.
All right, let's get to some props. I've got my eyes on two names here for chances, one on each side. Evan Bouchard on the power play. I think
Mm,
Edmonton, if they're going to have a chance, the power play is going to have to be a big piece of this. A power play point has him at plus 180 right now. So some pretty inflated numbers for a guy who runs the power play one unit.
hmm
Anytime goal for Bouchard is up at plus 475. If you
hmm
think he's got a chance to step into a big slap shot here, pretty good payout there. My favorite of the game is Eetu Luosterainen to pick up an assist. He is plus 220 to have a helper. He has 5 assists in 5 games throughout this series. You could also boost that to have multiple assists. He had 2 assists back in game 3. Also had 2 points on a goal and an assist there in game 5. So I'm high on Luosterainen, especially at the big time odds that he's
mm.
picking there. Timo, couple guys that you're looking at here.
Yeah, first of all, Eetu Luostarinen. There you go. Nobody's going to say that. Actually, Kenny Albert is he's other than like it's Luostarinen instead of Luostarinen. Kenny Albert has a pretty good pronunciation of his last name actually. Um, Marchand, right? Marchand's been he's all over this series. Marchand goal at plus 265, not bad, and he's had the first goal in the last couple games. So as a first goal scorer, Marchand at plus 1600 seems like a really good choice there. And we should ask my friends at NHL stats and info is if there's anybody who's ever scored the first goal in 3 games in a row in a Stanley Cup final. I'd be interested in that. Um, I am looking for Edmonton to win, so I got to give you a couple of Edmonton guys on props. Draisaitl to have 2 goals, and he's heating up plus 750. I like Draisaitl with 2 goals. I think that's a good longer shot. And I agree with you on Bouchard. I think that's a good place to go. And I agree that Edmonton needs to be picking up their power play goals and points. As a longer shot on Edmonton, love that goal that Nurse had the other game where he roofed it from a sharp angle. Nurse anytime goal plus 1400. Like that as a long shot as well.
Leon Draisaitl opened this series with 2 goals in game 1, had a goal and an assist in game 2, a goal and 2 helpers in game 4. Pretty good odds at plus 750 for him to pick up another 2 goal night. He's also, if you want to be a little bit safer, just around even odds to have an anytime goal in that one. But some good props to look at and consider here. Close it off with the Conn Smythe. We already covered Sam Bennett. He is a hefty favorite, minus
Hmm.
225 to win it. Looking down the list, if we've got Edmonton coming back, both Draisaitl and McDavid, 9-1 odds there. How about Brad Marchand at plus 300? He
Hmm.
had 2 goals in that last game. He's kind of being matched goal for goal by Sam Bennett. Do you see any
Hmm.
chance that Brad Marchand gets kind of the media darling award in the hearts of the media? Vote with the 37-year-old Marchand.
Marchand being a darling, that's just like that's almost mind blowing because I don't know are there people out there that still like strongly dislike Marchand? I'm sure that there might be a few of those in the media, but it is a great story, isn't it? Um, Man, if I was picking between Bennett and Marchand, obviously with those odds, I'd go with Marchand over Bennett. I got to think he's still got a moment left in him. He's got another one of those goals in him. Could he have a game-winning goal in um, one of these games? Yeah, but Bennett, he's moving up the list of those all-time goals. We know he's already the all-time road goal scorer in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He's not going to score 5 or 6 goals here in the next 2 games and be the all-time playoff goal scorer. But Bennett has made a great case for himself. Boy, both of those guys, it's you can't say enough about them, what they've done in these playoffs. Yeah, obviously I'd go with Marchand just based on the odds, but we have bought low all series long, and the guys that we've bought low have generally risen to the top. How could you not go with Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl now? Draisaitl has had worse odds than McDavid before. Now they're both at plus 900. I don't think you can go wrong with picking either one of those. I think Edmonton still has a solid chance to win the cup. Obviously, if you're picking McDavid or Draisaitl in the Conn Smythe, pick the Oilers to win this game, and I would even pick the Oilers in 7. Package those all together. If you like Marchand, if you like Florida tonight, then I think the pick is Marchand.
Good point there on if you like the Oilers, maybe throw a couple units, one on each of McDavid or Draisaitl. They're going to be the clear winner if Edmonton is able to come back and win it. Timo, we've covered this one here on Monday. You've got the rest of the day Monday and all day Tuesday to prepare yourself to watch this one. What's going on down in Connecticut the next couple days?
Quiet days here. Got a couple projects I'm working on. Yeah, just looking forward to the game tomorrow. It's it was funny. They were talking certainly during the broadcast about the shorter rest, right? And thinking like, okay, that's why the shots were down, the goal scoring was down at least through 2 periods, and it certainly looked correct. I do feel like this late in the season, this late in the postseason, it's a good thing to have those 2 rest days. Hopefully we get 2 really good efforts out of these teams, at least one really good effort out of these teams. I'm thinking 2 really good efforts out of these teams with the slightly longer rest. So really looking forward to that game tomorrow, which would be today, once you're listening to this.
Well, the next time we meet, it could be a postseason recap to end our show for this season here.
Yep.
Fingers crossed that's not the case, but a chance for Florida to go back to back with the Stanley Cup here tonight as this show releases. Edmonton trying to drag it back one more game for a Game 7 that would have the hearts of every hockey fan beating full force. He's Timo Seppa. I'm Casey Ditzel. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, and X, posting daily game-by-game picks, props, and parlays to help you beat the NHL betting market. Until next time, if there is one, have a good one every day, everybody. And for that sake, let's go Oilers here.
All right.